Hey everyone, welcome to the Laser channel. I am Greg, and inside this box is the S30 Pro 10-watt laser machine by Sculpfun. Stay tuned as I dive into this box, show you all the neat features on this machine that make it unique. Followed up by the very end of the video, I'll be doing some sample projects of doing a grayscale engraving of a photo, along with testing the cutting ability of this through a 1/4 inch piece of plywood and then even a 3/4 inch piece of regular pine board. Welcome back. I can't wait to show you all the neat, innovative features that are found on this machine. Before I begin though, I just want to let you know that this is a sponsored video. Being able to do sponsored videos is a great way for me to bring you all the variety of content that you find on this channel. If you enjoy this content, please feel free to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, or ring that notification bell. Okay, now that all of that is out of the way, you'll see that I already had the box open once before. I did want to check out what's inside of here, and mainly I did want to go through the manual to see how well the manual describes how to put that machine together. This is one of the common questions that I have, is how complicated or simple is the laser machine to put together. Now this machine does have quite a few pieces and parts in here, but having gone through the manual is very specific on very easily describing how this machine goes together. With that covered, let's dig into this box. I always like to start out with a nice, clean, flat table where I can spread all the pieces and parts out. In this video, I'm just going to show you what's contained inside of here and maybe one or two little snips of what the manual and the parts look like. Here's a closer look at the included plywood that comes with the kit. It has a nice even grain to it. There's no warping or separation of it. And this is going to be 3mm plywood. This is the largest plywood that I've seen come with any kit. Normally the sample material that comes with a machine like this, they're usually about the size of a credit card. And this actually is an actual sample material from another kit. And that's great if you already know settings that you need to use and you can do a little fun project on here. But if you're new to tabletop laser machines, having a large piece of board like this allows you to practice multiple times on that same board, whether you're engraving or cutting it out as you develop your library of settings for your particular style of running the machine. Really great to see all of this material. And there's also a piece of material here. I believe this is going to be aluminum. I have all the pieces and parts out of the box. It looks like it's not too many pieces and parts, so it looks like it's a very doable machine to put together. Shouldn't take too very long. I'll do a quick flyover with the camera so you can see what these look like up close. The first thing I really want to take a look at is the part bags, and it does show that this is the parts bag for step 1. And it calls out all of the different fasteners and parts that are in this parts bag. If I look at the next parts bag, this is for step 2, and it does the same thing. It calls out all the pieces and parts that are located in that bag. When I move over to the manual, it'll show me that inside of the step 1, here's screw number 1, number 2, and number 3, and that corresponds to the contents of the package. This is screw number 1, and there's 2 pieces, and so on and so forth. As it covers all of this, matches up, and it clearly shows you what screw number goes in what location. Yeah, I really love the texture on the top of this power pack for the machine. It's got a neat thing. It's just one of those little things that I like to see on the machines. And here's the star of the show, is the 10-watt laser module. This has the included and installed air nozzle. Now this nozzle screws on and then is held in place with a set screw that's located right here. So this air nozzle isn't going anywhere. All metal construction, very firmly attached to the laser module itself. Here's the main controller board. On the back is the wiring harness that comes out, and each of the ends of the wiring harness is located to what it gets connected to, along with the separate harness. And again, all the lens are labeled. And that's the overall theme on everything in this kit. From the rails here, everything is labeled left, right, back to front. So it's very easy to identify what part is what as it corresponds to the manual. There's also some pretty neat features on this top gantry, particularly this linear rail. I've used this in my industrial career, and these rails here are very precise and they offer a very long lifespan when properly maintained. Moving on to the air pump, this is a 30 liter per minute air pump. That's about the standard for these desktop laser machines, and that will be plenty of airflow to cut through materials. On the bottom side, it does have these nice little rubber feet on here, so that as this runs, it will not walk across the table. And I have used pumps very similar to this in the past, and these things are crazy quiet while producing a lot of airflow for clean cutting. This S30 Pro kit is very well packaged. The manual is very clear. The parts bags are clearly identified with the contents in it. I'm really excited to put this machine together, and I'll be back in just a short little bit with the machine all together. Assembly of the machine is complete. I ran the wiring harnesses on the machine and installed the homing limit switches outlined in the manual. The manual did an excellent job on the placement of where all the pieces and parts go. So this kit did take me about a half hour to put together. I do want to mention that this upper gantry area is all pre-assembled, including the tensioning of the belt. That's a really neat thing that Sculpfun does to help speed up the assembly process of the machine. As I had mentioned in the beginning of the video, there's a couple really neat and innovative features that really drew my attention to this S30 Pro machine. The first one being this linear rail with the precision bearing located just behind the laser module. And I really like this because during the engraving, I typically have this x-axis is the one shuttling back and forth, putting all the mileage on the rail. And it's nice to know that it's on a ball bearing rail that is precise and requires just a little bit of maintenance of a light grease and the occasional cleaning. But this is going to provide many years of service that's going to be very precise. I really like that. The other really cool thing about this kit is the included air assist kit. From the nicely machined all metal air nozzle that threads onto the end of the laser module, that's also held in place with a set screw, to the included air pump that has this nice matte finish on it. It has some nice rubber feet on it that prevents it from walking around on the table while it's running. And this pump, it is crazy, crazy quiet. In fact, it's so quiet that sometimes on a project, I forget to turn it on. And this leads into the other really neat thing about this air pump is it gets the power from the controller board of the machine. Now, when I have this machine connected to Lightburn software has this option inside your project for each layer that I can turn the air assist pump on or off. So that's now functional on this machine. All the other machines that I have, that little toggle switch inside Lightburn software does not do anything. Me as the user always had to manually turn my air assist pump on or off depending on what I'm doing. But now that little checkbox in Lightburn is actually connected to this output that turns on and off the air pump. So it's really cool that down at this price point in the diode laser tabletop machine, That feature is now functional. I think it's long overdue, and it's a really great option to have on the machine. I can't wait to check out running this laser module. Sculpfun states that it is very precise. It cuts very cleanly while still being able to engrave beautiful objects and images. I want to check that out. So to do that, I'm going to connect this machine up to the Lightburn software. Before I do that, I'm going to finish connecting the power up to the controller board along with the USB cable that is included with the machine. So next time you see me, I will be in the Lightburn software connecting this machine up to it for the very first time. Hey, before I jump into Lightburn, I just wanted to tell you that this is my favorite part of these machine projects, is connecting the machine up to the Lightburn software, because that means we almost have a fully functional machine that we can start creating projects on. Now, like you, when I first got into these laser machines, I heard everybody was talking about Lightburn, you have to use Lightburn. And having used it for a while, it really is easy. I was a little bit apprehensive at first, but what I did was I downloaded the 30-day free demo of Lightburn software. It has all the features unlocked, and I have to tell you, by the end of that 30 days, I understood enough in Lightburn that I could make and create projects, engraving and cutting things out, and move forward with it. There's a lot of YouTube content creators that have their channels specifically just on how to use Lightburn software. There's a lot of really neat things in the Lightburn software. So with all of that out of the way, let's jump into the computer. All right, back in Lightburn software. Here on this menu bar here, when I pull this down, you'll see I've got all these other machines hooked up to Lightburn software. Again, I might be a little bit of a Lightburn fanboy, but I have all of these machines hooked up to this one software, so I don't have to relearn a new software program each time I add another machine to my collection. So connecting the machine to Lightburn, normally we'd click on Devices and then Find My Laser. We'd click Next, and it's not going to find it. So I need to back out of here, and I'll show you why it's not going to find it. Right now, by default, the Xtool D1 is the first machine that I had, and it just appears at the top of the list. Now, it's already trying to connect on COM3 just by default. This obviously is not an Xtool machine. I need to take this COM3 menu bar and drop that down and hit Choose. Now, that's going to tell Lightburn software, stop trying to connect to that machine. And now I can go to Devices, Find My Laser, click Next. And here it found the machine. It's I call it Gerbil, GRBL, a 400 millimeter by 410 millimeters. That is the Sculpfun S30 machine frame size. I'm going to click Add Device, and I'm going to rename it to the S30 Pro. I can click Next. And where's the origin of the laser? And what they mean is, where are the limit switches? And this is going to be the lower left-hand corner of the machine, right here. And so that is going to be the front left. I'm going to click Next. And this all looks correct. Finish. Okay. Now I can go back over here and go to the bottom of the list, S30 Pro. Click on that. And we'll see that, yep, it is connected. It says that the laser is ready. And for the moment of truth, I'm going to hit the home button, and I get this error 5, homing cycle not enabled in Gerbil settings. And that means I need to navigate over to Edit, Machine Settings, and we'll see homing cycle right here. I need to turn that on. And now when I hit the home button, we'll see that it travels over to the home position. And now that the machine is homed, we should have a fully functional machine now. To do a quick demonstration of that, I am going to draw a box in the middle of this work area. And I'm going to ask the machine to frame that out, so it should move over here and draw out this box that we see in Lightburn. That's really neat. I'm going to tell it to go back to the home position. And this is just one of the really neat things that I like about using Lightburn software with these machines is it connects to it very quickly. Most of the time, the software will automatically find your machine, know what it is, and it puts all the secret settings in for you, and the machine is all ready to use. Things are really moving along with this machine. I'm doing this in the afternoon, so in early afternoon, I'm able to unbox the machine, put it together, get it connected to the computer right away. I have this aluminum backer board that I like to place underneath my machine. That way, if I tell the laser to go in a spot where there's no project material, I don't accidentally engrave or cut into my table. I also have this backer board taped down to the table so I don't accidentally shift that around while the machine is running, which would also shift my work around. Speaking of work material, I have this 1/4-inch piece of plywood I'm going to place in the work area, and I'm going to do a test engraving of a photo image on that to see what the grayscale engraving looks like. I have my photo imported into Lightburn. I measured the height of my project material wood, and it's about 70 millimeters. So I'm going to make my photo image height 60 millimeters. That way I have a little room for error. I invite you on your projects though to take the time that you need to, but in these videos I speed things up to try and keep the video length down to a manageable size. I'm going to navigate to cuts and layers. And I'm going to double click on this and I'm going to use a speed of, let's say, 160 millimeters per second. And I'm going to unclick pass through, and that will open up the image mode. And I'm going to go all the way down to grayscale. And now my max power I'm going to set at 100, and the minimum value will be at 0. And a quick explanation of that is anywhere there's something that is all black, it will engrave at 100% power, and anything that is washed out or just white, it will not send any power out there. But all of these gray tones in between, it will figure out what power level it needs. So I like using this image because the sky is just bleached out white, and then I get to the trees in the background that's fairly dark, followed by the grass that's a lighter shade of gray, and it has this race logo emblem here, and then all three people have different colored shirts that show up as a different part of the grayscale. So this is about 50% gray, maybe a little bit lighter. This shirt is white and there's some shadowing across it, and then this shirt here with the backpack is a little bit darker. If I'm wondering how long this is going to take, I can click on the preview button up at the top of the screen, and I will see this will take about 12 minutes. So I'll catch you in about 12 minutes. Taking a closer look, I see that this image really turned out very, very well. I'm really pleased with the results. Wow, I'm really impressed with the results with this. I didn't do any image preparation for this. I just imported the image into Lightburn and did the setup that I showed you, and I hit the go button on this and got these really good results. In fact, I'll show you a close-up view of this along with the black and white image in Lightburn, and maybe those will be located up in this area here. Now, I do want to note that this was estimated to take about 12 minutes. This actually ran for about 30 minutes, so it took much longer than I expected. However, I'm loving the results, so it'll be up to you as a user, knowing that this may take a little bit longer, but the results are really, really good. Now that we've engraved, I want to do some test cutouts, so I'm going to use this open area over here, and I'm going to do some circle cutouts through this 1/4-inch piece of plywood. And for that, I'll be using some honeycomb on top of my workbed area, and the honeycomb allows the airflow to pass through the wood and not have any of that smoke stain the backside of the wood. Here's the honeycomb that I have, and I like to attach my projects to the honeycomb using magnets. So one of the key features that I look for when selecting honeycomb is that magnets will stick to it. Here's what I love about having a magnetic honeycomb. I can place my magnetic strips in and kind of box my work material so it can't shift around. This also allows me to remove the work material, inspect it, and replace it back in, and I know that it's perfectly aligned. Along with, if I have multiples of a work material project, I can keep placing new material in and just simply hit the start button. I don't have to reposition anything. I've replaced the photo image with this, a circle that is 15 millimeters in diameter, and I've readjusted my settings for a speed of 4 millimeters per second at a power level of 100%, 2 passes, and I changed the mode to line so that it will cut this out. I've set the focus and I framed the project out. Everything looks good, and I also have this little toggle switch on, which means the air assist kit will turn on automatically when I start the project. That took just a few seconds, and we'll see that I lift my work material out and I've got this perfect circle that cut so cleanly. I'm going to see if it'll do that in one pass. Let some of that smoke clear. And wow, look at that. In just one pass, it easily cut all the way through. The last thing I'd like to check out is this solid 3/4 inch piece of pine board. Now, this machine isn't advertised that it can cut through something this thick, but I want to see if it can do it, and if it can't, just how far it can cut through. That first pass, it cut almost halfway through. I'm going to increase the pass count up to, let's say, 5 passes. We'll see that that just about made it all the way through. I'm going to run this one more time. However, this time the laser is going to start over the wood and do the complete cutout in the block of wood. I'm going to increase the pass count from 5 to 10 because we were just about through before. And I think with 10 passes, this should make it all the way through. We'll check out what this looks like. Only 2 tiny little spots where it didn't connect all the way through. And I think this will press out. There it is. It did cut all the way through a 3/4 inch piece of pine board. I have to say, I'm really impressed by the performance of this machine. I like that the grayscale engraving that I did with this image, just threw an image in Lightburn and sent it out through the engraver, and I got some really good results. It did take much longer than expected, but I'd rather have good results take longer than have bad results take less time, if that makes sense. I like how cleanly cut the holes went through on this 1/4 inch plywood on the front and also on the back. I was able to do this in just one pass at a reasonable speed. That's in line with these tabletop laser diode machines. Then I pushed the machine to the extreme with what you just saw, cutting a hole through a 3/4 inch piece of pine board. I started out with the laser starting off the board. That way I could see how deep it cut with each pass. In the first pass, it cut nearly halfway through the board, with the second pass being about 3/4 of the board. And then after that, the laser starts to get out of focus and it can't deliver all the energy it would really need to effectively keep cutting through the board. But when I did the test in the middle of the board and I added more passes, we were able to get enough energy to the bottom side of this board to cut all the way through. So overall, really impressed with this machine. I really like this linear rail that's in the back. That's going to provide a lot of service life. It's also very precise and requires very minimal maintenance. And again, the other part is the included air assist kit and the automatic air pump turning on when using the Lightburn software. That's a super cool feature that I wish a lot of the other manufacturers would jump on board with. It's already in Lightburn, so why not add it to the controller board? It's one less thing I need to think about when running a project, is if I turn this air pump on or if I left it off. I really enjoy creating these product videos for you viewers. You know, when you go on the internet and you search for these diode laser machines, I always thought there was just a couple of them on the market and they all kind of look the same, but you start digging into them and you find out there's all these manufacturers. Many of them have been around for a while, like Sculpfun, and they do have a legacy of creating very good, high quality products, and it can be hard to determine what is a good fit for you and what are the features that best suit your needs. That's why I really like creating this content for you. So I put the information out there for you, show you the features on the machine, and I let you decide if this is a good fit for you and the types of projects that you would like to make at home. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, or ringing that notification bell. Doing any number of those things really helps this channel out, and it also helps connect content like this with viewers like you. Until next time, learn, create, and share.